All right. Well, I want to welcome everyone to our presentation tonight. My name is Carol Peoples. I'm one of the leaders of the Central Coastal Plain chapter of the North Carolina Native Plant Society. And our chapter is hosting this presentation tonight, which is titled iNaturalist, Helping Nature, Helping Scientists, Helping Yourself. I know we have some people in attendance who are not yet members of our Native Plant Society, so I hope you'll consider joining us. We have a lot of fun. We learn a lot from each other. And if you're interested, you can go online to the website that's listed on the screen, ncwildflower.org, and it's an easy process to join. And just a few minutes to discuss housekeeping. The presentation is going to last, we think, about 30 to 40 minutes, and there will be time for questions. We'll definitely try to get this wrapped up within an hour. I ask that you keep your microphone on mute so that it won't distract other listeners. And either save your questions until the end, or if you feel like you can't remember them like me, you can enter them in the chat box, and we will reference those when Anna's finished speaking. Real briefly, I know Anna's going to share some things about herself, but I'd like to make a brief introduction of her. My friend, Anna Helvie, is a co-leader of our chapter, and she was one of the first native plant enthusiasts that I met. And she has been generous in sharing her knowledge with me and with others. And she has been a wonderful mentor. And she has gained a lot of her knowledge from a lifelong curiosity about and love of native plants. So I'm going to stop my screen share, make Anna a co-host, and then we will get started with the presentation.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Good evening. I hope everybody's having a good evening. Actually, I don't think I need to have these earphones on, so I'm going to take them out. Can everybody hear me well? Okay, great. So yes, I am a kind of a lifelong native plant lover. Back when I didn't know the difference between native plants and any other kinds of plants. I grew up off of Highway 58 in Cape Carteret, Pelletier, North Carolina, in the 60s and 70s, where there were just tons of native plants all over the place. We had pitcher plants in our ditch, and all of that has changed. And I really got started again with it about 30 years ago when I was in Carborough and didn't have a lot of friends there. So I bought a native plant guide and just kind of went wandering around, finding things all over my apartment complex and in the hillsides around. And then when I moved back to Eastern North Carolina 23 years ago, I actually started that again. And I've been thrilled to help get the North Carolina Native Plant Society Central Coastal Plain chapter off the ground. So there are a couple of things that I'm passionate about. I am passionate about the weird places and the roadsides that are intermediate environments. You know, we whiz along the roadsides and we might catch a glimpse of orange or purple or yellow out of the corner of our eyes. But because roadsides are mowed on a regular basis, they don't get woody and shrubby. And because they are in between woods and ditches, there is an environment there that is really, really great for native flowers of all kinds to flourish, sometimes in great numbers. But we don't often see them. And because we don't know that they're there, the contractors who mow the sides of the roads and the contractors who go and spray the sides of the roads have never been given any kind of instruction about, hey, you know, this is a somewhat rare plant that's blooming really nicely now, and there's 100 bees on it, 100 native bees on it. So let's hold off on mowing until it's not blooming anymore. And so one of the things that we've done very successfully in this chapter in the only 2 years that we've been going at it is promoting the planting of native plants within our own gardens and yards. And that's wonderful. And I've done that. It would be great now, I think, to extend that to looking at roadsides and waste places and these little kind of niche places around where there's an incredible diversity of beautiful things that are great for pollinators, great for the environment, great for native bees, great for us to look at and to admire. One of the things that we need to do, however, for our leisure and also to get this information is we need to be able to go out and take photos of these plants and identify them and then have them stored in a list where other people can see them. Happily, there is a wonderful program that does that. It's called iNaturalist, and some of you may have heard of it. And we're going to talk about that tonight, beginning steps in iNaturalist. I have a little PowerPoint presentation, and then I'm going to actually be going on to iNaturalist on my brand new phone, which is a Samsung Android Galaxy. And we're going to be looking at iNaturalist on an Android phone and beginning steps in how to take photos and how to upload those photos, get identification for those photos, and then see what iNaturalist has to offer you, people who are interested in the natural world around them. Two things. I am not an expert in iNaturalist. I have mainly used it on my computer to get quick and dirty IDs over the past couple of years and to maintain a list of the things that I've ID'd. I am just now beginning to explore its more advanced features. So when it comes to advanced things, we will be learning that together. I'm a little bit ahead of the curve here. Also, this is a new phone, and it's the first time I've worked on a shared screen on an Android phone. So there are going to be times that I might swipe the wrong thing or click the wrong thing and have to kind of backtrack a little bit. I just ask that you be patient with me. iNaturalist is actually a pretty forgiving application. So it's not going to lose anything, or there's nothing disastrous that's going to happen. So with that being said, we're going to go through my little PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to now share my screen. And I am going to go down to share the screen. Start now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to slides. This is my little PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to start my PowerPoint presentation. Can everybody see this? Carol, are you able to see this? Okay.
Yep, I can see it great.
And so my presentation is iNaturalist, a community for naturalists, helping nature, helping scientists, and helping ourselves. iNaturalist has something to offer all of us in the exploration of the natural world around us. So who and what is a naturalist? These children on the right-hand side, those are naturalists because they are down on their hands and knees looking with curiosity at the natural world. They're observing and studying it. A naturalist is anyone who studies and observes the natural world. A naturalist's primary function is to make observations about everything in nature, from the smallest fungus to the tallest tree. iNaturalist is a tool that helps us be more effective naturalists. And in fact, it elevates us to the role of citizen
scientist. iNaturalist was started by the National Geographic Society, as well as the California Academy of Sciences. And so it's a tool for both amateurs and for professional scientists to record observations and to participate in logging what's out there in the natural world, which is very important. So what iNaturalist will help us do is, number one, identify the plants. We have such a tremendous diversity of plants here in Eastern North Carolina. In fact, we are one of the most biologically, botanically diverse habitats in the entire world. Scientists come here to study us because we have so much diversity and also so much beauty and so much value. So as we're out there taking photographs of these plants that we're finding, there is a feature in iNaturalist where we could upload the photo and it will suggest identifications. We can also, once we've loaded it to iNaturalist, we can connect with experts who can help further identify. Sometimes we in iNaturalist may only be able to identify a particular fall blooming aster, for example, down to, okay, this is a fall blooming aster, and we know that. We're not exactly sure which one because a lot of these kind of look the same. An expert can come in and help us really kind of get that granular information so we know exactly what it is. It helps us keep track of our encounters with other organisms, plants, trees, fungi, and maintain everything that we have ever studied, and it does it in the cloud. So it's not taking up space on our phones, it's not taking up space on our laptops. And I want to say, even though I'm focusing on plants tonight because we're the Native Plant Society, iNaturalist does the same thing for plants. It does for insects, reptiles, bees, butterflies, four-legged animals, birds, any living organism is included in iNaturalist. So if you're at the beach and you want to identify a shell, iNaturalist is the way to go. If you have a bird singing in your backyard, there's a way that iNaturalist has where you can record that bird song and get it identified. We're not going to go into those things tonight. We're going to stick to just taking photos of plants and identifying them because that's the first thing that we need to learn. But I want you to know that this is a really powerful tool that can do a lot of very cool things. You can learn a lot about nature. One of the ways I've learned how to identify plants is, you know, when I sit down after supper at night, I'll take half an hour and go onto iNaturalist and just type in Craven County or Carteret County or Jones County and just see what other people have found. And it will show me where it was located. It will show me what it is. A lot of times there is already an ID attached. So if it's not something I'm familiar with, I'm learning and I'm not even trying to learn. I'm just actually looking at pretty plants and I'm learning what's in my environment just by sitting down and relaxing and looking at pictures of pretty plants. So it helps us in those ways, but it also helps scientists. Scientists and resource managers need to know what's out there. What kind of plants are out there? Where are they occurring? We have endangered plants in North Carolina, and sometimes they pop up in locations that people didn't know about. We'll see an example of that here in just a minute. We can become citizen scientists, and we can even run events. Like there's a thing that iNaturalist has called a BioBlitz, where people get together and try to find as many species as possible within a particular period of time. So last summer, we had the curious case of Carolina birds in a nest, which was a rare plant discovery in Craven County. Now look over here at this beautiful pink flower on the left with the beautiful wide leaves. In September 2022, a user uploaded this photo of a beautiful flower in Craven County, and it was identified as Carolina birds in a nest. I was sitting down one night after supper and just browsing the recent finds that people had uploaded in Craven County, and I saw this, and I had never heard of it before. And so I went to another program that lists on a county level what plants are located on a county level in North Carolina, and it wasn't there, i.e. no one had observed it in Craven County before. So I asked, is there any way to submit this to that particular database, which is called Vascular Plants of North Carolina? They don't list the report for this plant in Craven County. And the expert came back and said that so-and-so user, Harry LeGrand, is an admin for that site, and he can make the necessary updates assuming he sees this. And Harry LeGrand was tagged and came back and said, I have just now updated the range map on the Vascular Plants of North Carolina website. Congrats on this new county record, the easternmost in North Carolina, except for a population in Tyrrell County. This is a state endangered species. So the NC Natural Heritage Program staff will contact you for more details, as this is a state endangered species. And you can see Craven County right here in the light green. And if you were on this database and clicked on it, you would see that it came from iNaturalist. So this beautiful endangered plant was kind of randomly seen by a user who snapped a photo of it, uploaded it, and now scientists know that this endangered species occurs in Craven County, and that had never been reported before. And that's really valuable information for protecting habitat. So this is the kind of thing that can happen with you going out in your backyard or running around your neighborhood and using iNaturalist. Again, it's a joint initiative of the California Academy of Sciences and the National Geographic Society. And it talks about how iNaturalist shares findings with scientific data repositories like the Global Biodiversity Information Facility to help scientists find and use our data. All we have to do is observe. Before we get started on actually talking about using the application, I want to say that those of you who have gone out and done plant identification, you may be familiar with an app you can get for your phone called Seek, S as in Sam, E-E-K. The Seek app uses iNaturalist's technology and database to help you ID plants. However, it doesn't record them into a database, and it doesn't ask for a login, so it doesn't track any information and keep it where you can go and look at it later or send it on to an expert in the field. So it's a great way, if you snap a photograph, it's a great way to get a quick and dirty ID on that photograph, and then you can upload it to iNaturalist later, but it's not a replacement for iNaturalist in terms of all of the various functions. So most of the time that I've used iNaturalist, I have used it on my laptop, and the laptop has a whole bunch of stuff on it, but signing up is easy. Whether you are signing up on your phone or whether you're signing up on your laptop, when you go to sign up, it's just going to ask you for your email. It's going to have you pick a username, like I picked A Helvie because I'm Anna Helvie. You do a password, you tell them that you're not a robot, And then it's going to ask you permissions. Yes, you know, what you consent to. Yes, license your photos, sounds, and observations so scientists can use your data. Consent to allow iNaturalist to store and process limited kinds of personal information about me, and that's very limited. And then for people who aren't here in the United States, you can, you know, overseas users, because this is a worldwide application, has a consent, and then, you know, the terms of use and privacy policy. Then you create your account and you are ready to get started. You can edit your profile, and it's recommended edit your profile to add your full name, a photo ID. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be your particular face. You can upload a picture of a squirrel or a nut or a flower or whatever. Where you're located, and a little paragraph about who you are and what your background and interests are. This helps other people know where you're coming from, and after tonight, you're free to go into my profile and read what I had to say about myself. And now you can get started to take photos in the field and ID them, get your IDs confirmed, keep a record of your findings, explore what other local users have found in your area or any other area. Upload your old photos. So if you've got 2 or 3 or 5 years worth of old photos, stuff that you don't know what it is, you can upload it into iNaturalist and go ahead and start using it and build your database that way. And then there are also projects and guides in iNaturalist to increase your knowledge of the living things out there. I'm not going to talk much about those tonight. That's a little bit more advanced. I'll be talking more about those on the March 25th walk that we're going to be doing in the Island Creek portion of the Croatan National Forest, when we're going to be using iNaturalist to record things that are out there. And so now I am going to go into iNaturalist. And what I did was I logged out so you can see what the login screen looks like. I am down here at the bottom. You can sign up if you don't have an iNaturalist account. You can do it right here on the phone, or if you'd rather do it on your laptop, like me, sometimes I tend to go for a laptop because I like to type with 2 hands. Then you can do it either way. I'm going to go ahead and log in. You're going to see a little bit of my password because this is a new, so I'm going to go through this quickly because this is a new phone and I don't have the permissions to do some things with. Okay, so because I've logged in before, because I have an account, it's going to come up and it is just going to show me everything that I have ever uploaded to iNaturalist. These are all things that I have taken pictures of for the past 2 years. If I want to see it with bigger photographs, I can click on this. It's just like when you are in Microsoft Windows in File Manager and you could see big icons or little icons, or when you're looking at photographs in your files, you can see the little icons or the big icons. And it shows me that I have made 55 observations, and here in a minute is going to come back and tell me of those how many species I have actually recorded. And I'll actually flip up a couple of things. You see, this is really good because when you click on a photograph that somebody has already uploaded, or that you've uploaded, if you want to go back and review it, it shows you the photograph. It shows you what the ID is. It shows you the scientific name. It shows you the general location. So I can click on this and I can actually expand it. Well, I'm supposed to be able to click on this And I can expand it and get very granular down to where I actually saw it just by playing with my phone. It gives the coordinates up here, gives the exact latitude and longitude. You can hide that information if you want. I'm going to go back to now. I have an expert come in and verify it, so but it's still a good ID out there.
Anna, we're having
Yes.
a little trouble hearing you. You were breaking up a little bit.
Okay, so what I was saying was that you can see where your observation was located, and you can click on it and expand it a little bit to see where you recorded your observation. You can also hide the geographic coordinates of your observation if you don't want anybody else to see them. That's pretty easy to do. For example, the endangered plant, the birds in a nest that I showed you earlier, I can see that it was found in Craven County, but it doesn't show me the exact location because the user obscured it so somebody doesn't go out there and dig up this endangered plant, basically. So the next feature is I provided an ID, and it's a good ID, but before researchers are going to use it, before scientists are going to use it, somebody else is going to have to come in and agree or reinforce that ID, and that's fine. So this just shows you, you can also make comments about it. If there were comments that I wanted to make on it, like, I found this growing, alongside a bunch of other things, or didn't expect to see this, or it was a rainy day or early spring or whatever. You can add a comment if you want. So this is what an observation looks like. Now, let's say that I am out in the field and I want to take a photograph of something and get an ID on it. Well, I'm not out in the field now, but what I did was I picked some camellia branches, and with camellias blooming from my yard, because I thought that would be easy. If you see down on the bottom right of my screen, there's a green button. That is the button to add an observation.
Anna, we lost your audio again.
Okay, hold on just a minute. I'm going to plug in my earphones. How's this? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, that's better.
Is it breaking up?
Not now.
Okay, hold on just a second. Doug? Doug? I have a very big favor to ask, and for about 10 or 15 minutes, can you not watch? I need all of the bandwidth on the
Oh,
meeting.
yeah, hang on.
I'm
Sure.
sorry. Okay, I just asked my husband to shut down his streaming because it might be something to do with our internet. So anyhow, if you want to add an observation, if you're out your backyard, if you are on a roadside, if you're in a park or something like that, all you have to do is click this green button with the plus sign in it, and then take a photo. It's going to bring up your camera, and then you get as good a photograph as you can. You can retry if you want. You click OK. It's going to upload it. And you can see it is filling in the coordinates, the date and time. I'm going to click on view suggestions. What did I see? View suggestions. I don't know what this is. Oh, look, it's suggesting that it's a Japanese camellia because and it's visually similar and it's been seen nearby. So I'm going to click on Japanese camellia, and the kind of standard photograph for Japanese camellia is going to come up, and it gives me some information about Japanese camellias. And so I'm going to select this. So it's filled in the ID. It has my photograph up there. And in my backyard. Okay. So I just added a new observation. And I will do that again. I'll do that again with just a slightly different view. Again, I click the green button that has the plus sign in it. Are you still able to hear me, Carol?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay. Take photo. This time I'm going to go to a bud and leaf. Okay, and yes, that's okay. What did I see? View suggestions. Let's see if it can get it this time. Okay, yes. And actually, you can see now that because I was emphasizing the leaves, it matched it with other things that are like green blobs. So it accurately identified it first as a Japanese camellia. That is the correct one. And then it's like, oh, well, if it's not that, consider the Stanqua camellia. Well, if it's not that, consider that it's a green tree frog. And actually, this is about the size and color of a green tree frog, and or a black cherry leaf. And then it goes down to further IDs. The ones that are the closest, of usually the most accurate matches, are the first couple of suggested IDs. Not always, but usually. So I'm going to click Japanese camellia and select, and there I go. Now, one of the things that I can do is I can say that it's captive or cultivated. This is not something that I have found out in the woods. This is something in my backyard or in a park. So I'm going to click this box. I can add it to a project. I can click here to add it to a project. To my project, the Central Coastal Plain Project. Back up, okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm trying to get it to select this. I don't know why it's not doing it, but I will work on that a little bit later. Because even though it may not be working for me right now, it will work to add it to the project. I'll work on that a little bit later. If I wanted to add notes, let's see, early bloom, 2023. By frost. And I apologize for not choosing a native plant, but I wanted something that inside would be very easy to get. Okay. So that's how you do it if you're out in the field, out anywhere, and you want to take a photo and get it ID'd. Again, this is the same technology that the very popular CCAF uses, but there's more to it. Now, let's say that you are out in the field and you have almost no cell signal and you want to take photographs, but you don't have enough cell signal for iNaturalist to upload your photo or suggest anything, that's okay. Take your photographs and then upload them when you get home. Again, you go into iNaturalist. You click on that bottom right-hand button that has the plus sign in it. Choose image. And it's going to come up with various images from your camera roll. And going to add it to iNaturalist, just as if you had taken the picture. You see it's right up there. You can add more than one also. If you've taken 3 or 4 photographs of the same plant, you can add, you don't have to add them in separate entries. You can add them, you can have like 3 or 4 whatever photographs per observation. So what did we see? I have no idea what this plant is. I've never, actually I really do, but let's say I don't know what it is. I've never seen it before. It looks kind of interesting to me. I'm going to click and see what iNaturalist says. Oh, okay. It suggests that it is a version of Indian pipes. And there's several different kinds of Indian pipes. So I get to pick whether I think it's pine saps or ghost pipes or red Indian pipes. And I'm going to rule out ghost pipe because ghost pipes are white and it's not. So what is it? Is it just regular Indian? Can I determine whether it's a pine sap or can I determine whether it's a red Indian pipe? I don't know at this point. So I'm going to say just generic Indian pipe. That gives me more time to go in and research and look at more photographs of the various kinds of Indian pipe. It also gives me time to go and solicit advice from a fellow member of the native plant group or from an expert. So if you're not sure, go for a broad category, select it, and you can even say not sure if pine saps or red Indian pipes. Now, I'm going to save this without any location information. Carol actually sent me this photograph to use for the demonstration tonight. However, if I had taken this photograph on my phone, it would have saved the geographic coordinates from where I took it and uploaded those as well. So this is how you get your plants ID'd, or at least get a start on IDing your plant. This is how you keep a running list of the things that you've ID'd. And this is how other people can go in and find out what other people have been observing. Carol, do you think this is a good time to ask if people are okay with this, or take a little break, or what?
Yeah, Anna, I'm not sure how much longer you think you have for content. We do already have a question or two. So what would you like to do?
I think I'd like to take a couple questions, and then I would like to look a little bit at the explore feature before we end it for the night.
Okay. Well, Barbara asked, when you were looking at the camellias, the first photograph was identified as a camellia, but not which one. Both were suggested. So what if you had chosen the wrong one?
if I had chosen the wrong one, that is okay. Other people who are that will get into the explore feature. In fact, I did that earlier today. Uh, I went earlier today and I explored to find out what plants have recently been uploaded from Craven County. And there was one nice person who had taken a photograph of a beautiful branch of Yopon holly with the leaves clearly visible and the red berries, but had only classified it under plant. They had no idea what it was, and I don't think that they were familiar with iNaturalist, or maybe they weren't in a place where their phone was able to access the plant database very well. So I went in and ID'd it as Ilex vomitoria or Yopon holly. So we can do that with each other's, and we should be doing that with each other. We should be doing that with each other because the great thing about iNaturalist is not only does it have the identification database, but it also has a team of people who are knowledgeable about native plants, i.e., we're knowledgeable about native plants, and then there are experts on there who are knowledgeable about native plants. One of the things I have on my to-do list is to contact the president of the North Carolina Native Plant Society, who is a retired botanist, biologist, man who knows many things, and ask him to join the the group project that I've put in, and also to help him get a couple of other experts who are in this area fairly frequently on board, so that people who are professionals will go in and help us refine our IDs. But we can also do that for each other. If you see that somebody is struggling, they've uploaded a wax myrtle bush, and all they have is, if they have the wrong ID or a very generic ID, then you can go in and suggest a different ID. And there's a little dialogue box where you can make a case for why you think it's one thing versus the other, and you can get a conversation with people about it. So that's another powerful feature, is the collaborative feature. It's not up to us and the database and the plant books lining our bookshelves to come up with IDs. We can help each other with this.
Okay, great. And you may have mentioned this and I missed it, but what is the cost for the iNaturalist app?
There is no cost whatsoever. It's absolutely free.
All right. I think that's all the questions I had. If anybody has any others, please put them in the chat box. And Anna, if you'll just go ahead and move ahead, we'll take another break. Or you may be wrapping things up pretty soon, whichever happens.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, again, let's say I want to go out and see everything that has been uploaded in let's say Lenoir County. Okay, so I'm just, hey, what's going on in Lenoir County? What have people been finding down there? I'm going to hit the little search icon that we're all familiar with. Now, there are several ways that iNaturalist will let you do this. I'm going to do it the easiest way I can. I think I'm doing this correctly. Okay, so ignore that just for a minute. So let's see. I apologize. You don't hit the little search button yet. That's for searching within your own list of things. So if once I get a couple of hundred identifications in here, if I want to find that purple disc aster plant that I uploaded 4 years ago, I don't have to scroll. I don't have to scroll and scroll and scroll until I see it. I can go in and look for it with a keyword. Okay, so that purple. Don't make a liar out of me, iNaturalist. All right. What's going on here? Okay. Oh, I see what it is. Okay. Well, let's do this. Okay. So you can look, you can look and see, let's see, what kind of, okay, shaggy blade, you can go and you can find things that you've already uploaded just by putting in one of those keywords. Now, to get back to Lenore County, let's see what's been going on in Lenore County. I'm going to hit the 3 lines here and I'm going to go to explore. So all kinds of things are going to come up from my general location. Too much for me to deal with. And not just plants, but a whole bunch of other things. 14,827 observations. But I only want to see Lenore County. So I am going to click on the search. Actually, I'm going to click where I'll go back and do that again. Okay, so I'm going to click here where it says exploring all my location. I'm going to tap there. I'm going to X out my location because I don't want to see what's in my location. I want to see what's in Lenore County. I'm going to click the search button. And here are all the most recent, and they are sorted automatically from the most recent on back. So we see people have been finding crayfishes and spring vetch and resurrection fern and little brown jugs. I don't care about crayfishes. Who cares about crayfishes? Crayfish, schmayfish. So this is my little filter icon in the upper right-hand corner. The filter icon, it looks like a filter. Imagine water trickling down all those little channels and filtering things out. I'm going to click that. And then I'm going to tap on the leaf and apply filter. You see how the leaf got highlighted? Then apply filters. That's going to filter out the crayfishes and the bugs. I don't care anything about those. I just want to see, oh, resurrection, Yopon, sparse lobed grape, something another. Ooh. So this is a sparse lobed grape fern. I've never heard of that. It's absolutely beautiful. I sure would love to know more about it. Oh, look, here's the user up here. Her name's pretty familiar. That's Karen Mulcahy, who is one of our members. So she's out there in her backyard and around her area all the time, logging really interesting things. So it shows me the general area down here where she was. And if I wanted to say something like, I love, well, first I can agree with her ID, or I can go down here and add a comment, or if I disagree with her ID, I can suggest another ID, but I'm not going to put anything there. I'm just going to leave her a nice little note that says, would love to see this. Now, I know Karen, so I'm okay with leaving a note. I'm not going to do this with, I'm not going to leave random notes on strangers' IDs, but and uploads, but I know Karen, she's a friend, so you can put this on there. I could have also have asked, why did she think it was a grape fern? Why, I could have a dialogue with her about this. So you can also see how a lot of people have uploaded leaves here. This is interesting because this is a good way to learn of what things look like. What does a southern bayberry look like leaf? What does an American sycamore leaf look like? Some stranger has just uploaded these things, and it's pretty awesome because you can scroll along here and learn what things look like. Again, this is when I sit down, I have my cup of decaf coffee after supper and scroll and see what people have put in there. And if you notice things, then chances are you're going to see something that you've seen out in the wild and didn't know what it was. It's a good way to learn. Like horseweed. Why, that's that stuff that grows in my backyard and chokes out my garden plants every year. Yep, sure is. That's what it is. Now you know what it is. You didn't even have to take a picture of it. So if I wanted to go and see everything that people have found in the Croatan National Forest, I can go back. I'll do this again. Click the 3, click explore. Click the X, put in Croatan National Forest, click search. And I still have my plant filter on, so it's not showing me possums and things like that. And now I can see the wonderful things that people have found in the Croatan National Forest. And look at here. It's very difficult to ID bark. By exploring iNaturalist, I'm out here able to see what a mockernut hickory bark looks like versus a tulip tree. It shows me the location. Oh, look, it's Island Creek Walk. So next time I go to Island Creek Walk, I can look for these trees and I already have a reference for them. So it's a two-way tool. You can upload things, you can get an ID on them, but you can go in and browse what other people have uploaded for your general region by county or location and learn what things are out there. So, ultimately you'll probably be asking for fewer IDs, and you may even learn enough where you're the person giving the IDs. And again, it has a collaborative feature. So,
Anna,
yeah.
I'm sorry, let me interrupt just one moment. It is 7:53 and we do have a couple more questions.
And I'm done with the presentation.
Okay, well, how about we do this? If you will stop sharing your screen, and then we'll go to the gallery view and people can turn on their video so we can see faces, and we can answer any questions. I do have one question here in the chat. Let me get my video on. And then if anybody else wants to, turn on their video, raise their hand, or if you want to put it in the chat, that's fine. But Barbara asks, is there a way to upload pictures that one has already taken other than by bringing them up on our computer screen and using the circled plus to take the photo into iNaturalist? And can you group your items that have been uploaded, alphabetize? Is there somewhere to learn what it can do and how I do it?
Okay, as far as the grouping it by alphabetized, what I forgot to mention is there is a really good help guide in iNaturalist that has, if you go to help, there are step-by-step processes that shows you how to do things. And there are also videos. The videos are about 7 years old, so the screens look a little bit different, but they still give you an idea, of what you're doing. And if the help would probably tell you how you were able to sort it. I have never tried that, so I don't know, but I'll play with it and find out and try to find out as well. As far as photos that you've taken, they have to get into iNaturalist somehow. So I like if they are print photographs, I think you would have to probably scan them and onto a chip, onto like a micro SD card, and or you could probably take a photograph of the photograph
Mhm.
and do actually taking photographs of photographs sometimes results in a better photograph than the original. um, but you have to get an image uploaded into iNaturalist for the functionality to work. So whether that's but if they're on any kind of computer or anything, you should be able to, there should be a way to do that. If it's in a digital format, there should be a way to do it. I hope that answered the question.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions? You can either raise your hand or put it in chat. I had one question, Anna.
Mhm.
Like, how do I find people that I want to follow? Do you
How
just
you
look at that area and see people who have reported things and then follow them?
That's what I did. Actually, I, you know, decaf coffee after supper, sit down, and I do this particularly in the blooming parts of the year, and who has uploaded stuff. And I found that uh, Alan Weekly, who is the probably acknowledged as the leading expert on southeastern plants, um, he has an account and he regularly makes trips wandering down here and uploads everything that he sees. So I follow him. There's another guy named Eric Ungberg, and I saw that he was uploading stuff like a mile from my house, even, and which was really useful. And he was uploading a lot of stuff, and it was not your usual. It wasn't the usual. "Oh, here's a pine tree." It was, he obviously had an eye for noticing things. And when I clicked on his user ID, it said his name and it said that he was a biologist who was interested in, the southeastern plants and wetlands and things like that. So I followed him. Um, so yeah, I go and I find who's uploaded things that the IDs are confirmed and they've uploaded a lot and they regularly upload a lot. And then you can click on their profile photograph or their ID name, and it gives a little blurb about them. And then you can find out if there's somebody that it would be productive to follow.
Okay,
So, and or a friend that you want to follow, or other
sure,
people in the group.
sure. Does anybody have any other questions? All right. Um, like Anna mentioned earlier, we're going to have a plant identification walk March 25th at 10:30 at the Island Creek Trail, and Anna's going to lead that for us. Encourage you all to come and bring your iPhones or your Androids, and let's use this iNaturalist in the real world and see how we do. I know myself, I learned so much more from actually doing it.
Yes.
So I think that will be a fun experience. I'll be sending out an email about this walk, and I'm not sure, Anna, do we need to limit the size of the group? I know 15 or so is really pushing it for someone to be able to talk with the group. I don't know what your thoughts are about how many we can accommodate.
Um, I honestly, if more people want to come, I can. It's going to be harder to keep them together, but some people may just want to come and look at the pretty flowers, and that's
Mhm.
okay.
Okay,
I don't care.
okay,
Um, I also will, Carol, if you would send out, if you would, or I can do it. Actually, I don't think I can do it. To everyone who's registered, send out my email address. I'm very happy to answer any questions as best as I can.
okay.
And also, I am a Helvie on iNaturalist. I encourage people at least to go on and create an account and to follow me. And it has an email function within iNaturalist. And especially if you do it from the laptop, it's, it's like any other email function. Feel free to email me questions.
Yeah, give me your email and I'll enter it in the chat so people can write it down or copy it. What is Soleto Spring?
It's Soul to Spirit. It's
Oh.
SOLE
Uh-huh.
TOSPIRIT. It used to be my business name when I did reflexology. So that's why
Okay.
it's soul, like soul of your foot. Soul to
Okay.
Spirit at gmail.com.
Okay, everybody, that's in the chat. Okay. All right. Well, I think that it's now 8 o'clock. We kept it to an hour. That was wonderful, Anna. I learned a lot. And I look forward to learning more in person.
Yeah,
And
let me just say one thing. I'm sorry.
sure.
It's a lot to absorb, but please, if everybody would just go on, just make an account. All you have to do is make an account and send me a note, and I'll go and follow you, and you can follow me, and then you can begin to play with it. And I encourage people to think of it as play. Okay. You can't mess it up. Anything that you put in that turns out to be wildly wrong, it can be deleted. It really is, it's okay to play and to make mistakes with it. Trust me, I have.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate you coming. And again, if you're not yet a member of our group, I encourage you to go to www.ncwildflower.org and join us. We have a good time. We have native seed swaps and native plant swaps and guided hikes and do lots of fun things together. So thank you, everyone. And I look forward to seeing you soon.